රැස් විහිදෙන ජීවිතේ.
The Buvalikada building in Kandy revealed to have been built at the starting point of a valley. A memorandum presented against a statement made by the UN Commissioner for Human Rights. Doctors in Kandy engaged in a token strike. World's leading commercial banks and many financial institutions revealed to have made money illegally, a revelation about $2 trillion US.
A very good afternoon. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Yuki Poshia, starting off with your local news. The National Building Research Organization said the 5-storied building, which caved in and collapsed in Buvalikada, Kandy yesterday, was built blocking a valley path. The National Building Research Organization geologist in charge of the Kandy district, Samantha Bogahapitiya, said the multi-storied building was constructed on loose layers of soil in the respective valley region. As a result, the building had caved in as the soil layers could not bear the weight of the construction. Meanwhile, senior geologist attached to the University of Peradeniya, Professor Atula Senaratna, inspected the area.
The name Buvalikada suggests what type of soil this land is made of. The soil in this area is very soft. We observe water has gathered in the land beneath, which might have caused a disconnection between the foundation and the soil.
Geologist Samantha Bogahapitiya said 4 families in the area were temporarily relocated, taking into account the prevailing conditions. Chairman of the Geological and Mines Bureau, Andraval Pula, said the cause of the collapse was not due to a tremor. 3 people, including a 2-month-old infant, died after a building located down Sangamita Mauta in Buvalikada, Kandy, caved in and collapsed at around 5 last morning. As the building collapsed on an adjoining house, 6 city residents were trapped under the rubble. The army and police rescued 3. The deceased were identified as businessman Chamila Prasad, his wife Achalaika Naika, and their baby daughter. They were a couple who got married in November last year. In your weather update, the Met Department states that showers will occur in Galle, Central, Western, Sabaragamuwa and Northwestern provinces and the Galle and Mathura districts from time to time. Now, the Met Department states that a low pressure area has developed in the northeastern Bay of Bengal. The Met Department warns that strong winds or heavy showers are likely in the central, northeastern and eastern Bay of Bengal. The department said the prevailing rains and winds are expected to continue today as the southwest monsoon continues to prevail across the island. Fairly heavy rainfalls, about 75 millimeters, are likely at some places in Sabaragamuwa and central provinces. Fairly heavy rainfalls, about 50 millimeters, are likely at some places in the western province and Galle and Mathura districts. Showers will occur at times in central, Sabaragamuwa, western and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura district. Our correspondent said that a nearby telephone pole was leaning onto the road. Meanwhile, it was reported that the water level of the Ginganga has risen. Due to the heavy downpour, 2 sluice gates of the Polgola Dam has been opened. Meanwhile, a famous indigenous man named Raja of Dambani Kali has been killed by an elephant. The body was found in a forest about 18 kilometers from the border.
The body was found 18 kilometers inside the jungle after he was killed by a white elephant. He was attacked by a wild elephant while entering the Maduroya reserve to collect honey. The deceased has been identified as Karunaratna, a 56-year-old father of 3. According to his relatives, he had been living in the jungle since the age of 10. The deceased had entered the Maduroya reserve along with 2 other people from the Gurukumbara area in Damana on the 18th to collect honey.
In more local news, government medical officers in the Kandy district staged a token strike today.
When inquired, Dr. A.M. Premalal, Secretary, Kandy branch of the Government Medical Officers Association, said the protest was launched against the attack on the Chief Medical Officer of the Manikhin Hospital by a provincial politician. Accordingly, the token strike began at 8 this morning. Our correspondent said that the patients who came to the clinics were sent back home. Police said that investigations are currently underway to arrest the suspects.
Now, a discussion was held today between a group who received employment as development officers and officials of the Government Medical Officers Association.
The development officers claim that the 84 maternity leave was given for 6 weeks for the new employees of the organization. The development officers demand the government medical officers to inform senior government officials in this regard.
Meanwhile, the Mahajana Yuthukam Kendra handed over a memorandum to the United Nations office today.
The memorandum was handed over in protest of a recent statement made by UN High Commissioner of Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, on Sri Lanka. They said it was wrong to withdraw from the 30/1 resolution. We can clearly say that even the US has withdrawn from such resolutions. Michelle Bachelet should not be worried about us but about the USA. She said, through the 20th resolution on crimes, independency of Human Rights Commission are influenced. It takes place through the 20th Amendment democratically. It can be inquired from the Supreme Court if the rights of the people are being violated.
Meanwhile, police say that drivers will only be fined or referred to court starting from next week, although the traffic lane law will be in effect from today. The lane law, which was introduced as an initiative to reduce traffic congestion and accidents in Colombo and suburbs, was implemented as a trial period last week. The parliamentary law will be in effect from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. today. Senior DIG in charge of the Western Province, Deshabandhu Thenakone, observed how the lane law was being enforced in Rajagiriya. Meanwhile, the traffic lane law on the Colombo-Galle main road starting from Mahamodara Hospital in Galle to the Galle town also came into effect.
The traffic lane law was implemented in Galle today. A trial period will be held for a week to educate drivers on the implementation of this law. Thereafter, we hope to completely enforce the law.
Meanwhile, the lane law from the Nupe Junction in Mathura to Guragama Expressway entrance towards Galle came into effect as well. Moving on, a special parliamentary workshop will be held for the parliamentary group of the Samagit Janabalawegya today. Our Newsfirst parliamentary correspondent said the workshop was organised to discuss the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. The workshop will be held under the patronage of the leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa. The meeting is scheduled to take place at 3 p.m. today. Meanwhile, the Credit Information Bureau of Sri Lanka says that the newly introduced credit score will facilitate the provision of credit even to those who lack traditional collateral. CRIB's Director and General Manager Nandi Anthony, who is spearheading the project, discussed what the new credit score will mean for borrowers, leaders and the economy at large.
Credit score is basically a number. It's a number between 250 to 900. The higher the score, lower the risk level. It has huge benefits to the borrowers. The borrower can get their borrowing much faster. You can negotiate better credit. With better scores, you can negotiate better terms, better limits, higher limits, better interest rates. A borrower can use the credit score as reputational collateral. Not all borrowers will have traditional collateral. Not everybody will have a land, a building. You might have a low score. That means you may not be eliminated from credit. It's just that you might get a lower loan, right? So the score is a revolutionary product. It will change the way that the financial markets, the lenders and the borrowers both will operate. But make it very clear here that the score or the credit report does not give any decision to the lenders. The decision, ultimate lending decision is theirs. It's just an information, and through the credit score, this information is analyzed and made easier. Simply that.
Now, today marks the 24th day of the 5th phase of the Gum at the Door-to-Door initiative. Our teams are touring the districts of Batiklo, Kandy and Monaragala.
The fifth phase of Gum at the Door-to-Door initiative is underway together with University of Peradeniya. Lack of water, dilapidated roads, threat from wildlife, sanitation issues, land disputes, lack of jobs, education and health issues, lack of playgrounds, partly completed projects by using public funds. Issues related to drugs were registered by the Gammatha teams over the past 23 days. Our team in Monoragala toured the Dodangolla, Madapitiya, Vagalla villages attached to the Bibile Divisional Secretariat. The Dodangolla Gammatha Savya organization was formed this morning. The inability to supply water for cultivation has become the main problem faced by the residents of this area due to the non-reconstruction of the village Vavar. Travelling has also become difficult due to dilapidated roads. Our team in Batikalo toured the Tetathi village attached to the Kalavanchikudi Divisional Secretariat. The parents alleged due to the lack of teachers at the school, education has become difficult. Our team went from house to house in the village of Pattapulam in the Vellavali Divisional Secretariat Division and observed issues due to housing. The villagers alleged they have to travel a fair amount of distance in search of drinking water.
Now today is the final day of the Gammatha Door-to-Door initiative here in the Kandy district. Now today we visited a village in Uduvala in the Hasalaka area. Now one of the common problems the people here are facing is a lack of clean drinking water. They also mentioned for the past 15 to 20 days they have not had adequate water for consumption. In addition to that, that leads to a lot of health issues for the people living here. And there's a 3-kilometer distance that needs to be travelled to attend the school in this area. Now they don't have adequate transport facilities for the children or the people in this area to travel. Now do stay tuned to Newsfirst as we bring you the latest updates from the situation here in the Uduvala village in Hasalaka.
And with that, it's a wrap of lunchtime news here on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Yuki Poshia. Take care and good day.